Hi, my name's Roxy Murray. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2014, and today I'm going to be speaking about depression, multiple sclerosis, and unexpected relationship. Life before MS was pretty good. I was living life like every other 18-year-old. I was at university, I was working in the fashion industry, I was planning my future, I was making my big dreams happen. And I was just generally living life, trying to navigate it, find out who I was and where I fitted in life, really. Reaching an initial MS diagnosis with me was a bit of a journey. I had originally presented with what we now know as MS at the age of 18. After being at university, I had a bit of an issue and I was rushed to hospital. Back then, we lived in a world where they didn't believe that someone of my colour could present with MS, so ultimately they didn't believe that I had MS at that point. So I went on for about 6 years with MS without any treatments at all, which I am paying for now. And I had to fight for my diagnosis. It was only because I had a relapse 6 years later, while I was working in a retail shop for a little bit extra pocket money, that I was sent to a hospital that I'd never been before, and they didn't really know much of my story. The woman there basically looked at me and said to me, "I think you've had a mini stroke, and ultimately I think we need to reevaluate you," and that's how I got diagnosed with MS. The thing that caused me the most depression during my MS diagnosis was the fact I wasn't being listened to. The fact that I knew as an MSer that I was feeling different and I was dealing with different things than people that you said that had the disease that you first thought I presented with were dealing with. And when I was trying to navigate that situation and advocate for myself, I was being told that I don't know anything and that I should just be quiet and accept that I didn't have MS at that point. That was the most stressful. To know that you felt that you had something like MS and no one was listening to you. And then ultimately when they do tell you you have MS, they say to you, "Hi, you have this incurable disease, but now can you leave?" And then you're just left in the world by yourself. And you don't know what to do, and you feel lonely and you feel helpless, and we didn't have a community like that at that point. To this day, I still find myself slipping into that frame of mind of helplessness. Even though this community and learning more about MS and learning how to advocate for myself with MS has definitely helped, especially connecting with people that look like me, but people that are my age, people that deal with the same treatments I deal with, just having those open, honest conversations. And that's kind of why I started a podcast, was to combat that, and that's really helped me through my journey, as well as places like Shift.ms and other communities that I've been able to connect with and conversate with about those real life issues that you deal with MS. I do sometimes feel the depression, because depression and MS has a connection. However, without people like yourself and the other people around me, I feel like I'd still be there, and I'm so grateful for this community to help me through how I used to feel when I was first diagnosed. The one piece of advice I'd give pre-diagnosis me about my MS and depression is, although it's in your mind, it's not in your mind. That MS and depression is linked, and although they're not telling you that, doesn't mean that it's not real. That you will come through this moment, that grieving is normal and it is a process. That you can take the steps and take the time to work this out, and you can still live a more fulfilled life at the end of it. It just takes a moment, and that your emotions are valid, to allow yourself to be heard and seen, and to give yourself time to deal with the emotions that you're dealing with in the moment of getting that diagnosis.